call to order the February meeting of the Glendale Planning Historic Preservation Commission. Good evening, everyone. We'll begin, as always, by reviewing, in this case, two sets of minutes. Let's start with the December 5th minutes. Everybody had a chance to review those? Any questions, comments, changes, motions?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Motion second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the January 9 minutes of this body. Same thing. Any discussion points, members of the commission?
No, I move approval.
I will second.
All right, motion second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's move on to our business items. The first is a request of the Princeton City Schools for railing replacement at 930 Congress. Is somebody here from the schools? Who was our gentleman that was here last month?
Brian Weesty was the contractor who was here at the previous meeting.
He's aware of this meeting because he was at the last meeting when we scheduled this. Have you heard from him?
We spoke with him on Friday, reminded him of the meeting, so I'm not sure why he's not here
All
this
right,
evening.
well, it might be traffic, so we'll put that to the end of our agenda. Move on then to the request of Caitlin and Michael Holbrook at 825 Greenville for gutter rebuild and re-roofing. Ms. Holbrook, welcome back.
So when I was here last, I introduced the project to re-roof and do the gutters. We spoke a little bit about the easement that's on the house as well, so I spoke with Beth Johnson from the Cincinnati Preservation Association, provided her with the materials, which I have here, that we're hoping to use, and some photos, things like that. She ultimately approved the work. I have a copy of it. We said that because the roof is a low-pitched roof, it's not architecturally significant, whatever material we choose. So I have a sample of the shingle.
Can you hold that up so everybody can see?
Yeah, it's a Owens Corning shingle called sand dune.
And you had a photograph of a house with that shingle, is that correct?
I do, yeah, this exact shingle, which is where I found it from, yeah.
Does anybody need to see the photographs or any part of the application?
Already reviewed it. You think you met the conditions we requested last month, so if no further discussion, go ahead.
Okay. Well, at our last meeting, we talked about how the original roof was metal,
Right.
and it would have had a smooth, uniform appearance, and how it would be better to use a shingle that was consistent in color instead of a dimensional shingle that has a variation in color.
Okay.
And so the one you're showing is one that has that variation.
Sure.
So, yeah, so that's what we talked about.
Is that a stop to the shingle or? I understand that's the preference.
Well, yeah, well, the suggestion was to have a different product.
Sure.
Sorry, that wasn't clear.
Well, could we approve it and have David approve since we don't do color, so it would be a non-dimensional flat asphalt roof, and have David approve it?
That would be fine with me,
Okay,
just that it be a consistent color. Do you
Sure.
see what I mean about the sample?
Yes, and as Mr. Green said, that the approval of the color is not something that's typically done by the Planning Commission, so I'm not sure, besides what's being presented, is there a different material that should be approved?
No,
or
there's
different
not a different material, but
different type of shingle?
as I explained, because it was a metal roof, there was a consistent appearance of it. And
Okay.
so it would have been all one color, one shade, if you prefer, instead of a variegated color.
Okay.
So that was the point.
And Beth, you talking about uniformity of the shingles themselves?
Yes.
yeah,
Just
without
Yeah.
the shadows,
Just a
and the
three-tone.
three-dimensional, that's all.
Just a
Because
three-tab?
this
Just a regular
yeah.
three-tab shingle.
Okay.
The pitch of the roof is very shallow. It's more typical of what you would have on a metal roof and not typical of a shingle roof. With a shingle roof, you usually have a steeper pitch to the roof, so that's why I'm making that point. You want the roof to basically recede from view, because the interesting part of your house is really the facade, all that detail. And thank you for going to the Preservation Association and for being so conscientious.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you understand the difference that we're talking about?
I do,
Okay.
I do. So.
I mean, these are the coolest, it actually gonna save you money.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it'll save you money.
Thanks for
So
that point.
from here, then.
Probably want to circle back around to the Cincinnati Preservation Association, just to let them know kind of
Yeah.
the response back from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that.
On the flatter sections of the roof, your roofer didn't request, offer up a EDPM roof in various colors.
That's a membrane.
It's a membrane.
No, not that I know of.
Okay, you may want to check, on flat roofs or very shallow roofs,
Yeah.
it's a giant piece of rubber material
Okay.
that's almost indestructible, has a longer life frankly than any shingles,
Okay.
Mhm.
and,
You won't see
and,
it.
and it's a single color.
Mhm.
Sure.
So I hate for you to have to come back, but, I'd be okay if they
Third
would
time's
even
a charm,
approve
maybe,
that,
but-
because that's
Mhm.
the same thing, it's one color, but that's a better roof for you,
Okay.
Just put it in the motion as an option.
yeah.
Okay, well, if you look at the county auditor's website, there are photographs of your house from various years, all the way back to the
Yeah.
1990s. And you can see the green copper roof. And then you can also see that it was black. It looks like it had rolled roofing
But, yeah.
over it.
Yeah, I think I had a felt roof at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the effect that we're going for.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve your application to replace the existing roof and repair the box gutters on the condition that you use a non-dimensional, it will be a 3-tab shingle with a consistent color.
Okay.
And that you have the option of using membrane roofing on the flatter parts of the roof.
Yeah. Okay.
I would second that.
All right, motion second. Is there anyone in the audience wishes to address this application? Further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Congratulations. All right, let's move on to new business. We'll begin with that of Michael Gillespie at 1120 North Troy for an accessory structure. Mr. Gillespie.
That's correct.
We've all had a chance to review your application. We know what you're proposing. If you would describe as little or as much as you want to about your project, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. It's a garden shed, 10 by 20. It'll be on a 6-inch deep crushed limestone foundation, so no electric, no plumbing, no concrete. It's an accessory structure for the garden, and as you can see from the layout in one of the overhead view with a great block in the middle, it's in the middle of my yard, but my entire yard's front yard, so I had to get a zoning clearance and then also the planning for that. I've tried to match the slope of the roof as much as I can with the company I'm going with, and the window design and everything is tried to keep it as tight as I could with the current structure of the house in the back.
Which way will the doorway face? Towards the rear or towards the front?
So, if you look at the the overhead view, the driveway is the north edge.
Yeah?
The personnel door for entry will be facing the driveway toward the north.
Yes.
And the equipment door will be facing east down
Towards the rear?
Toward the rear.
Okay, so you won't see that door from
You
the
won't see
front?
there's a door.
Okay,
From
because
the street,
it's...
you'll see the two windows
Yeah.
on one side and the blank.
Okay, because it has a sort of an odd appearance, because it's over to the side. The
Yeah.
door isn't centered, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like it'd be better if it wasn't visible from the street, so
Yeah, well,
That's
I'll let
fine.
David do it.
observation.
David, would you explain to this commission what the board did last month,
Yeah, the,
Board of Appeals?
because this shed is proposed for installation in a front yard, our zoning code says that accessory structures can only be in the front or in the rear yard. So the Board of Appeals did issue a zoning variance to the applicant to construct the shed where it's indicated on your plans, with a copy of the plans that was distributed. So no zoning concerns on this application.
And there was at least one condition, I recall. I didn't write
Yeah,
it
there
down.
was a condition to add some natural screening, whether it be a trellis, arborvitae, whatever the applicant preferred, on the, I guess, the west edge of the shed to increase or decrease visibility of the structure from the street.
Break up the straight lines of the shed from the street. There's screening already at the sidewalk, but there's nothing between the sidewalk and where the shed will be. So
So-
add another layer of screening.
So that doesn't need to be part of our motion because the Board of
Correct.
Zoning Appeals
Correct.
did that. Okay, well, then I
And
move.
really quick,
Yeah.
the water, it just sheds right off, correct? I don't see any gutters or anything like that?
Yeah, I was thinking about putting gutters and maybe a rain barrel, but I think I'll have to come back to that at a future date.
And
Right
then-
now, there's no gutters, but the platform will be wider by a foot all the way around, so anything that comes off will go straight into the foundation, the limestone.
Okay. And then the roof, it appears to be, is that intended to be a metal on there, or is that just asphalt, or what is?
It's a metal roof, yeah.
Okay.
The slope isn't too much.
Nice. Dan, do you think it would have to come back if we put gutters on it?
Not necessarily, I was just thinking of the water and snow runoff
Yeah.
and just hitting the ground and the gravel and everything.
I don't think,
No.
No,
so.
it's an
we can-
accessory, it's not permanent, so.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fine. I was just curious how you were gonna deal with any of the water.
okay.
I move to approve as submitted.
Second,
Motion is second. Is there anyone in the audience wishes to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Was there a little ditch there?
Yes. No, you're good. You'll get a phone call when
looks like
it's
there's
ready.
two other accessories.
All right, moving right along. The request now, Kathleen and Thane Maynard at 715 Greenville for accessory structure.
All right, thanks for letting us make our pitch.
Oh.
Brian Lettis here, who is an architect and is helping us on this project. And I wasn't sure if you guys have a drawing of what this is.
We've all had the chance to review your application. It's here. Let me pull it out. There it is.
It's an addition on the back of an existing small garage that I use as a workshop. The addition will be 9 by 14 feet. And Dean, you know more specifics. than I.
Good evening, everybody. So the intent of the addition to the backside of the garage is really to carry all the detailing that's currently there on the garage. It seemed logical to do that. So that includes the board and batten siding, the ship's bow, roof line, the heavy timber framing, and the 6x6 windows, everything, all the details that we can carry from the original structure. The intent is to bring that right on through.
I have one question. It looks very nice, and I wouldn't not approve it, but I was just curious your thought process of the higher pitch on that versus the lower pitch of the original structure.
Yeah, so part of the thought was, we could have just carried the whole roof line straight across to the back, but we wanted to give the backyard a little bit more interest. So in creating that opposite gable, the higher ridge line gave us something to die into, just
Okay.
from a roofing standpoint and a leakage standpoint.
Looks
So that
nice.
was the thought,
Okay.
yeah.
That was the only comment I had. Oh,
So-
then I'd make a motion to approve unless there are any
I
other
have a question.
questions.
The windows themselves,
Yes.
what's the material of those?
So that's a question actually for the board. We were gonna replicate the 6/6 pattern, but I wasn't sure if we have to do true divided light, can it be simulated divided? That's really some direction we could use from you.
So you don't have to do true divided lights.
Okay,
Simulated is fine. Different manufacturers use different definitions of simulated.
Yep, yep.
Our definition of simulated is with fixed grids on the outside and the inside and the bar in between.
very good. Yep, we can do that.
And you don't have to use wood. You can use Ultrex fiberglass. There's a lot of different products, but in fact today I wouldn't use wood.
Awesome, thank you, I appreciate that.
And discourage vinyl as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so this is a board and batten, and my I think our objective is to just really kind of mimic that straight across.
All right. Anything else? Any other comments, questions? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion second. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Yeah, and thanks for the work you do.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Glendale's a charming place, so that's my chance.
All right. Well, let's move on to the request of Grove Architects at 740 Woodbine for a deck addition. I believe there's something addition, more than just a deck addition, but I'll let you describe that.
Hi, I'm Julie Phelan with Grove Architects, and it's just an interior kitchen remodeling. They are changing some windows on the exterior, on the side and the back. Hopefully you would have seen those.
Yeah, we've seen that. We at least had an opportunity to review them online. We have a Dropbox situation.
Okay.
Isn't there also a deck?
And then there's a
a-
deck. Yeah.
Yeah, a pretty, substantial deck. And a railing on the top of the bay.
Right, on the back. Yes.
I had I like the plans and it looks appropriate. The only thing on your elevations, I think the north elevation on sheet 2 and the south elevation on sheet 3 are opposite. I think it should be south and north instead of north and south.
That's possible.
I haven't
We
seen
haven't.
this, so.
This is
Yeah.
Jody's house.
Yeah, right,
So
exactly.
I think that's really the south elevation. That was the only comment from
Okay,
the
yeah,
draftsman's
thank you.
perspective.
Well, and I guess another item of work is the removal of the stoop on the side.
Right, yeah, and that'll be patched.
You're right, this is the northern.
And that is clearly not original, and it'll be an improvement to take it off.
This is the deck that's already there.
There's steps at the bottom of that are
Right.
more like in the landscape, like stone steps, and there's a tree behind it. They're keeping like the stone steps in the landscape because otherwise the tree would damage. They're removing all of the wood structure.
Mhm. Okay, and then you're adapting a door from the sunroom, a window to a set of double doors, so. Anyway, it's a very attractive design, it's very compatible, and it's really gonna make the back of the house more functional.
Yeah.
So the main entrance to the back will be up the deck and through those double doors, right?
That's the intention, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I move approval as submitted.
I'll second it.
All right. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, good job, thank you. All right, last item of new business is the request of Linda Arnold at 85 Coral. Good evening. You've watched how we work, we've seen your plans. You can describe as much as you want, we'll take it from there.
One of us hasn't.
My
Can stay within
Ah.
is going to be doing
Now that's gonna go in the
presentation, but I
minutes.
wanted to introduce
Oh.
her. So it's Yvonne Morales from the drawing department down in Oakley.
All right.
And she'll tell you about it.
Very good. Thank you, welcome.
Thank you. I know you've gotten to look at it, and I don't know if it's customary to just go right into questions or just to give you a summary of.
We'll leave it up to you. Usually, though, the applicants will give a short summary of
Yeah, the
high
short-
elevation of what you're doing. and
The
we'll
short
take-
summary would be is that Linda's home is a mid-century 1952 Pease home, the Archwood model. And in the 1980s or so, Carl Strauss and firm designed and the owners constructed a carport, a pergola that extends from the carport to the main entrance of the home, and what we've been calling trellises. Really, one is a side wall of the carport that has some slats on it, and the other is a freestanding one. Not calling them fences, they don't enclose anything. It's these Strauss elements, and Strauss also added a vestibule, entry vestibule to the home. And it is those elements that now that, they're 40-something years old, are beyond their life expectancy. The documents show some extensive leaking at the vestibule, bending of posts. It's pressure-treated wood that's been sunk into the ground for 40-some years, and so it's really in need of replacement. And we have really made an effort to honor the original California ranch-style home, and also honor the intervention by Strauss and Company in the 80s.
And would you like to talk about why you're replacing or adjusting the vestibule?
Yes, because it leaks very much, and it has a glass roof currently, which Linda has had a tarp over for some time.
Yeah.
It also has, on the back side of the vestibule, there are windows there, and the roof slopes right into it. It just funnels water right into that as well.
Bad design.
Yeah, so for both reasons, so we're not proposing a glass roof, and we have changed the shape of the roof. That is the most significant change. I think otherwise the changes are pretty subtle, but the change of the roof of the vestibule to, one, I think the vestibule that's there now, it's a little tall, it's a little imposing, and we've proposed a butterfly-style roof that takes the slope of the two L wings of the home and follows that slope, so it really nestles in there. And we will improve its impermeability.
Well, this is an interesting situation because the period of significance for our historic district for the National Register purposes is it ends in 1960.
Mhm.
So if Strauss did these changes in the 1980s, that's really outside of our period of significance, and yet those are the interesting parts of the house. Yeah, I think we acknowledge that they need replacement, and it is appreciated that although you're not duplicating those elements exactly, you certainly are meeting the spirit or the design intent of those additions.
That was certainly the intent.
Right.
And we've taken care, especially with all the wood structures outside, that, I mean, the Strauss originals are just the structural members themselves. They're not clad in any finish, and so we've been careful with the way these pieces are connected, that they don't have big chunky connecting hardware or anything like that, so
Mhm.
that hopefully it maintains the spirit of the original.
What is the material? I think it's the horizontal batten slats.
Mm-hmm.
Resista?
Yes, we have a sample of it here. It is a composite made of some resin, and I think honestly it's rice fibers, but it has a wood-like appearance. This is an unfinished piece, and it can be stained and come in different colors, and so it would be this color. And the purpose of not using actual wood for those slats is that they weather a lot, and in particular, I have seen it in action, the squirrels like to chew on them. We're hoping that they don't like to chew this, and that this should be a lower maintenance option for our client.
Would you mind passing that in?
Yeah. Oh, the inside of it? Yeah. Oh, this piece doesn't have it. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
We're also using these as the topmost pergola members. They're a slightly different shape for that, and the topmost pergola members actually have aluminum concealed inside. You don't see it, but that helps give them the structural capacity
Sure,
to
perfect.
span in that direction.
Thank you.
The quality of some of these composites has gotten so much better in the last few years.
Is there any new lighting that you're doing along there?
We're really not,
Closer.
no. There's an existing light near the vestibule, and there's an existing light at the carport that we're actually gonna save and put back. And we are not proposing new lighting.
And what about the driveway? Remaining, is fine?
Remaining, yeah.
Okay.
It's terrific.
Very nice.
Further questions, comments? Motions?
I'd make a motion to accept the design as submitted.
Second?
Motion second. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address this application? Any further discussion, members of the commission? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good job. David, have you seen Mr. Woosty? Is that his name?
He did email me. He had a bit of a medical emergency this evening, so he's not able to join us. But he would like the commission to review the application and wanted me to inform him of any decision that was made.
Okay. Well, normally we don't do that. We normally require somebody to represent an application.
If memory serves, we did have this question appear a couple of months ago. I reviewed the code and we do not have a requirement for the applicant to be present to review the application. I still tell folks it's very strongly encouraged, but there is no requirement. The board could decide to review the application in his absence and render a decision or defer.
Well, that's correct. There's nothing in our procedures or in the code that requires that. It's a matter of practice more than anything. I'll leave it to the commission. I don't have a preference one way or the other. It's a fairly simple application, but it was deferred once because we had questions. I don't know if the members of the commission feel those questions have been answered, or if David could answer those, but
I remember, if I may, from the previous meeting that the question related to, or the questions from the commission related to the existing railings and photographs, not having an idea of what those look like. He's included photographs at the end of the materials of the existing railing conditions. And those railings have been photographed for what will be replaced by the application.
I also remember one of the questions was, we didn't have, the fact that we didn't have a plan that showed where these railings were. My understanding was, just from his verbal presentation, it was just one set of railings.
Yeah, I believe the one set of railings on the northern side of the school building. There's
Northwest corner?
yes, the northwest corner, there's a pair of exit doors that lead out to a small landing. The railings around that landing are what's slated for replacement.
And the only other question I remember, Dan, you asked about the design of the original has this little arch
Correct.
on the end.
Detail.
And of course, the moderns don't have that. Other than that, they simulate it closely.
Is there any chance that this could be repaired? It's like the bottom rail looks rusty, but
I would guess yes, because of the material of the existing one or the current one.
yeah.
I think what they're gonna have problems is obviously on the landing of the side exit.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be able to be patched, that concrete landing area.
Uh-huh.
So the post could be relocated to another area. And these are obviously buried in the concrete, so the new ones wouldn't have to be buried in the concrete.
Uh-huh.
I just don't think that the proposed railing is compatible with the
Yeah.
style of the building.
Well, there are iron mongers, if you will, right? Like
Yeah.
Stuart Iron Works and other people
Absolutely.
who could do this work.
Right.
And I'm not sure if it was during the last commission meeting, but I had mentioned, it might have been after, that the suggested to the gentleman the applicant, to speak with the school possibly about approaching the Proctor Fund, since it's a public building.
Right.
They may consider funding some or all of the railing for a public building, accessible by the children of Glendale and surrounding area. So if it came down to kind of a motion, I would make a motion to deny the railing as submitted.
And
And if they wanted to
Recommend-
resubmit with
recommend
a
repair?
repair of the current railing or replacement of similar material and design.
Yeah, the repair of that can be done. I did it at the church. They just come in and cordial over concrete,
Uh-huh.
and they cut the posts, all the posts off, remove the whole thing, take it to their shop,
Right.
put extensions on it, with a solid center all the way up it, and weld it together and repowder coat it. It'd probably be less expensive in total, or about equal.
I would think it'll be more secure than the aluminum railing as
Yeah.
well, with all
Yeah.
those children running out the door and hitting it.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
And
and
the
it's-
aluminum railing, they're gonna surface mount,
Yeah.
Oh.
so,
And I agree, and I think more to the point, the current railings are more appropriate for that building than are these stock railings that have been presented.
Yep.
And on top of that, these stock railings will only be on one spot out of what, 4 or 5 or 6 different locations, similar locations at the school,
right.
if not more. So I think that alone makes it an inappropriate change to the school.
And and the reason these are rusting is because they're on the north side of the school, they don't get, a
dried
lot
out.
of sun, and, moisture gathers there. All those things can be fixed.
Okay.
All right, well, we had a motion, I know we had a motion to deny
Yeah.
for all the reasons we've just discussed. Was there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion second. Is there anyone in the audience wishes to address this application? Further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The application is denied. All right, well, that concludes our items for action this evening. We're at the point of people public who wish to address the commission. Is there anyone in the audience wish to address? Mr. Parrish.
My name's Kevin Parrish, resident at 176 Washington here in the village of Glendale. I had some concerns about this Glendale Planning and Historic Preservation Commission. It seems like you guys are only making decisions about interior and exterior decorations, but don't know a lot about the significant structures that are in this nationally historic village, because you haven't advertised them. You don't advertise the underground tunnels. We know they're there. You know they're there. Is there a reason for that?
Reason for what?
Not acknowledging the underground tunnels that exist in the village of Glendale, being that this village was planned by abolitionists.
Well, let me ask it this way. Did an opportunity to acknowledge those tunnels come up in today's meeting? You were here for most of it.
No, but it said with public comments in other business. So this is other business.
Okay.
So, no, you never acknowledged that, and you never mentioned that. But this is a national historic community that was planned by abolitionists, and there exist underground tunnels and other significant artifacts that you guys never acknowledge. Not saying that this is Black History Month, but this community helped free a lot of slaves and was a major station here, and you guys, for years, decades I must say, have not even acknowledged that. You didn't even acknowledge it when you were doing the landscaping up here between 747 and Route 4 in the little park there of the tunnels there. There are tunnels there.
Kevin, I don't think our acknowledging or not acknowledging something is in the charter for this organization. This
You are-
organization is designed to respond to applications by various folks in the village, homeowners or businesses, for changes that they want to make to their structures.
You shouldn't say preservation, historic preservation there, because this is a national historic community.
Your definition is different than our definition.
Most definitely. But I understand the uncomfortability of white folks in the village of Glendale being in a community where other rich white folks saw it necessary for the injustices that were occurring to black folks to stand up and show courage in creating a community such as this as a major station to help free us. But
If
since
the-
we won't go into that. My question here is, lately you are concerned about the structure on Washington near what we call the Salvation Army, which you have renamed as Washington Park. and you know nothing about the significance of that little
Well,
building.
hold on, tell us exactly when this came up before this commission?
Well,
I
when
think
the
you're
GC
referring,
when the GCIC,
that's not us. We're
no,
the
no, no,
plan-
no, 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 no. I'm not
Just to
saying
make
that.
sure you're clear, we're the planning commission, you're talking about the CIC.
I'm talking about the CIC when
Okay.
they say that they were in negotiation for obtaining that property at the meeting that I attended,
I was there.
okay? But you knew no history of it. Did you research the deed? Did you see the connection it had with the Salvation Army camp when it was in existence? Not at all, because,
Now, that's a question you have asked the CIC, and you need to ask the CIC. We had no applications relative to that property before this commission.
I'm not
for
saying
years.
that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this. Since it is in the historic district, is it not?
I don't,
I
is it,
don't believe
David?
it isn't.
Part of Washington from Jefferson coming down towards 747 is in the historic district. The historic district stops at Jefferson at the stop sign.
That property is within the historic district, but to your point, Mr. Chair, there were no applications related to that project, and to my knowledge, there haven't been in a very long time. I haven't seen one.
If it comes before us, we'll be happy to.
Well, how could a
Consider the
GCIC
history
be
of
in
the pro-
negotiations with something that you guys are not aware of, and you're the historic preservation?
Well, that's a question you need to raise with the CIC. And I know you have, and I know you will, but
The mayor's right there.
he's not the CIC. He's
No,
part of
I'm-
the CIC.
I'm the chair of the CIC, and I'll
He's the
just say
chair.
that at this point, should our discussions with the owner, which at this point are pretty much non-existent, go forward at some point, and if we wish to do something to a historic house, then yes, we would have to find out the historic nature, whatever historic nature it has, and we may have to come to the commission here.
So, at the meeting that I attended before the last GCIC meeting, and you boasted about the negotiation with the owner, about you guys obtaining that.
We
This
didn't
is
do
the
that.
CIC.
No, you can address that to the CIC. If you want to talk about the business of the planning commission, he's not here in the capacity as the chairman of the CIC. He's here as a member of the planning commission. This is planning commission evening, this is planning commission agenda, this is a planning commission discussion. If you've got a planning commission question, we'll discuss it. But if you got a CIC discussion, bring it up with them.
GCIC is an agent for the village of Glendale in doing their business. That doesn't affect the planning commission?
I didn't say that.
But that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, what
Yeah.
are you saying?
It-
Because that's the question I'm asking.
I'm asking you to bring any CIC business
No,
before
no,
the
no, no. I'm
CIC.
asking as an agent, this GCIC, as an agent for the village of Glendale, doing business on their behalf, does that come before the planning commission?
It may, under certain circumstances, it may not.
And them trying to obtain a property that is in the historic district, does that concern the commission? It does not?
It may at some point.
Acquisition or sale of a property does not
Correct.
require involvement of the Planning and Historic Preservation Commission.
It doesn't?
No. Every
If we
time
wanted
somebody
to
sells a
change it,
house,
if we wanted to change the property in
Yeah.
some way, the building or something, we would, and it is a historic building, then yes, we would have to come to the commission. But right now, all we have is an owner who is telling us, I'll think about it, and I'll get back to you if I'm interested.
So, this falls up under your Glendale Planning and Historic Preservation Commission. Are you aware of the connection of that property to the historic Salvation Army Park? Since we're talking about historic preservation.
I can tell you that I am not aware of that, other than what you said before here and at the CIC meeting. If, in fact, that property were to come before this planning commission, we would be happy to do the research or review the research. We can't be charged with the knowledge of every property, the history of every property in this village.
Well, you should be charged with significant properties. I mean, you didn't even have any concern about the Exide school.
Well, that's a matter of dispute, but continue.
Matter of dispute. How's it a matter of dispute when I went to finance committees and since 2009, when you obtained it, you couldn't invest not one penny, but
Okay.
you told.
Well, no, the
Wait a
plan-
minute, this is in the historic district.
Correct, but we didn't obtain it, planning commission didn't obtain it.
No.
We weren't part of the
Village
finance
I'm
committee.
not saying about, I'm not talking about whether or not you obtained it or not. I'm talking about as a commission, and you're seeing significance in a historic village, national historic village, with properties that are within it.
Okay, what's the question?
You didn't see any significance in the
That's
black
not true.
school.
That's not true. Read the record. We had plenty of discussion about the significance.
So much that Glendale did not support their efforts in saving it, or the commission. You voted to destroy it,
We
tear
did
it
not.
down, tear parts of it.
That's
We
a-
did
that's
not
not
vote
You
for
did, you
that.
go, when
It
they
never
wanted to
came
make it
before us.
until,
No.
when they wanted to make it to
You're
the
wrong.
home, I was there when you
You're
voted
wrong.
that they could tear down the parts that
You're
they
wrong.
wanted to.
You're wrong. We never voted.
I don't come here to tell
tear
lies,
down.
I come here to
Go look at the
refresh your
tape.
memories about the truth.
Go look at the tape. We never had a vote to tear that down or any vote to do anything before it was removed from our review. Just go look at the record.
I did look at it, when,
Look at it again. Because I never got the chance to make my opinion known about that project whatsoever before it was removed.
you guys are in
From the
such
vote.
denial in
Wrong.
this village.
Wrong.
And because of that denial, the infrastructure of this village is crumbling. You have no income other than the fund that you keep raping for your projects. Because you generate no money.
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, this discussion is kind of going around in circles.
It's not going around in circles.
Well-
Whenever I touch on things that you don't want to touch on because of the lies that you keep telling residents, they keep them confused about what's going on.
I'm just saying you're not getting anywhere with this commercial
Not a problem.
discussion, so,
We
Mr.
never get
Chairman,
anywhere when we start addressing the truth.
would you entertain a motion to adjourn?
Are you running this meeting or is he running this meeting?
I can make a motion to adjourn.
I didn't ask you that. You're chairman of the
I am making a
GCIC.
motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Are you saying that
There is a
residents
second.
just get cut off
Mr.
like
Chair?
that because the
Hold
mayor
on.
wants to cut him off?
You got one, finish your sentence. We have a motion on the table to adjourn, motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Council meets after this. I assume you'll be here for that.